Hello, welcome pen friends. It's time for Chris's inked pens for June 2021. You've already seen the first one, but I'm including it anyway because the whole month of writing with it, and I'll be able to come back and give you a real good report card on that one too. But let's just get started. What we'll do today is we'll look at each pen and the ink tile that corresponds with that pen, and then we'll do a writing sample. And then at the end, I'm hoping to leave enough time just to talk just for a moment about my bullet journal pen case and just bullet journaling, just a couple of thoughts at the end. So, okay, so first up is the Moonman Q1 Eyedropper pen, and I will go ahead and link that video just in case you missed it, but I did a first impressions of this. And so the ink that I put in this one is the Twisby Royal Purple. It's just a really pretty ink with nice flow and a beautiful color that I love. And so I thought that would be great. And this does have a fine Moonman nib on it, but I think it's going to pair up real nicely. Okay, so next up we have, this is a new to me pen. This is a Parker Jotter pen with a little medium nib on it. I just love my Parker Vector so much that I wanted to give a try to this little pen. And this one I think is the one, yeah, this is the one I ordered from pensandpencils.net, but I'll link that for you too. And I got a, this says made in France. So things have changed, I think, with Parker. Not that I was ever knowing that much about the brand, but I just really got along with the little Vector so much. So I paired this pen with Herbin Orange Indien, and this is how it came. It came in little cartridges, and I harvested some of them so I'd have a way to put it into the pen. Okay, and then next up is a pen friend gift of a little MD, a Midori Fountain Pen, and this has, I think this is a medium nib. Where did I read that? Well, I did read it somewhere. It has a medium nib on it, and right away when I saw this, it's cartridge converter as well. Same as, I have a cartridge converter in the Parker too. I thought about having a black ink, but I have this rather unique one here that I thought was going to be a gray ink, but turns out to be sort of, it looks black in the nib, and it's kind of purpley too, which is this interesting Colorverse number 17 Vortex Motion. I have it in a sample, and oh boy, so that's the ink for this pen. Okay, and then next is an old favorite of mine. This is a X750, Jinhao X750, and I have on it one of my very favorite nibs. It's a Goulet 1.5 stub, and I just love how it lays down the ink. So I had just ordered a sample of Colorverse Stars and Stripes. I got both the shimmer and the non-shimmer, and this is the non-shimmer. So I'm going to give this a try. It's got a lot of red sheen, which I was hoping to show you, but never could be quite sure. I hope this is coming out through okay for you. Should be paying more attention to what you're seeing. Okay, so next up is also another workhorse pen in my stable, I was going to say, but they might not appreciate being called horses. So, okay, a Twisby Go clear with a broad nib, and the ink that I chose for this is Scribbo Verde Prato. I did a little write-up on this last September during 30 Inks 30 Days, but I was all along wanting to finish that sample, and I liked it a lot. The ink, this Scribbo inks flow so well, so I never got that out of my mind, but it was a hunt, it was a treasure hunt to find that sample because I try to separate ones that I've already done. So anyway, I did finally find it. Nicely filed under green, already reviewed or something, so oh mercy. It's just amazing how my brain works or doesn't work. So next is another pen friend pen that was, the index card where it shows me the name and who gave it to me said keep anonymous, but she knows who she is, and she's the same person, oh, I'm giving away the gender, but anyway, the same person who gifted me the Zenzoi pen that was a big feature last month in May of 2021. So this is a Neptune Singularity. And I did pop on a different nib. I think this had a fine nib on it, which was great. no work needed and was great, but I wanted a couple of stubs this month. So this is a 0.8 Nemesine stub, and I'd like about 6 more of them, but no, that's ridiculous. But really, it's nice. It's not the first time I've tried it. I had it in a blue pen, BBS pen. So I have in this pen, Sailor 50 States, Texas, a very beautiful brown. I'm just so excited about this, and I predict that I'll go through more than one fill with this in June. So, whoops, did I not? Okay, it just made kind of a little noise. Well, it did it again, a noise. I don't know where the noise is coming from. Maybe the finial or the clip. Oh, I'll have to investigate that. Okay, next up is a very old favorite, my Kaweco Ice Sport in blue with a medium nib. This is the pen that I got early on in my fountain pen return to the hobby that made me spend a whole weekend learning how to smooth nibs. And I never purchased another one until just recently, but I'm not going to give away. I did purchase another Kaweco Sport, and you can go ahead and guess, but it'll take a while, and then I'll get it and I'll be showing it. But it'll only be my second, because as far as Kaweco, I have some that are not this Sport. I have a couple Perkios, and I have the little the little beautiful metal one, which is just eludes me right now what the name is, that was gifted to me. Okay, so in this pen, I always like Noodlers Navajo Turquoise. I've tried several different inks in it, but for some reason, I just want to see this turquoise ink in this pen. So I already know what it's going to be like, and I know I'll enjoy it. And it's a pocket pen, which I eyedroppered, so it tends to last me a long time, but I enjoy that very much. So, okay, so that's sort of like one of those comfort pens that you already know.
1 p.m.
There goes the talking clock. I already know what the experience is going to be, and whereas like these 2 or 3, these 3, I'm not exactly 100% sure. So last but not least in any way, shape, or manner is the Opus 88 Amar in purple, which I could not resist after just going completely crazy over the yellow one. And this was back in January. I don't know how I waited so long to ink this up, but because originally my idea had been to get this pen and hold it for my birthday or Christmas, because there was special circumstances where I sold some stuff, but I just couldn't wait any longer. This is got the broad nib. I have some other nib units. I have a stub nib unit and a medium for these, but it's the broad that I like to write letters with, so that's what's in it right now. And it is a number 6 nib with the screw-in nib unit, which is so handy. And I put Monteverde Purple Rain, an ink that I love, and I've had this, you know, for a long time. It's almost out. My bottle is almost finished, so, whoops. Oh, I hate crooked things, but I tend to have things crooked. So I think without any more delay, let's get into the Bond Travel Gear 68 GSM Tomoe River paper ink journal, and we'll try each one of these out, because that's going to be really nice to kind of just see how they write. So I'm going to make you a little bit closer. Maybe, hopefully that's not too much. Sometimes we'll have to see. I'll try to keep track of that and see. So, I want to try to keep the ink somewhere where we can at least peek in on the color. Is that going to work? Oh. Okay, I got to be really careful of at least maintaining some kind of focus for you. Okay, so this is the little Moonman Q1. And here we go. Fine nib, so it isn't quite as juicy as a broad nib, but boy, that's smooth though. That's so super smooth. This has kind of a long, convoluted name. Q1 Mini Eyedropper Fountain Pen, which we're going to abbreviate. Okay, fine nib, Twisby Royal Purple. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this ink, and I love this little interesting pen. It really is an interesting looking one. I'm not sure how comfortable the 14, it's approximately 14 millimeter grip is going to be, but it actually so far feels pretty comfortable. Let's do a couple, you know, squizzlies and then see. Yeah, it's going down real wet, especially for a fine nib like that. I like it. So we'll see how I like it after, you know, in the middle of the month, and then we'll have a report card eventually. Okay, next up is the little Parker Jotter in orange. Whoops, I've got my stack of inks upside down. With the Herbin Orange Indien. Okay, I just want to be able to peek in on the color so you can see that. Make sure you can see, okay. Medium nib. Not sure the nib is stamped, but I know that's what I ordered, so. Okay. Nice and smooth. Seems like there's something else that I should be putting. Well, I only have one Parker Jotter, but it is orange, so I guess I could put that in case down the road that changes any. Orange. And this is really pretty. This the same person who sent me my first Opus 88, which I have a deep gratitude to, sent me these little cartridges, and I really appreciate them. And I went and harvested 3 of them because I really wanted to be able to use them this way. So, but I wanted to maintain a couple for being able to put in a cartridge-only pen, so I left 3 in there. Okay, so next up, make sure we're still in vision here, is the little Midori Fountain Pen. And it's so interesting that my pen friend Sharon sent this, because I was seriously considering getting one just because I was so curious about it. Okay, and I put the Colorverse Vortex Motion in there. Well, we'll just, I don't know what it is. I just like to be able to see my ink tiles, because I draw quite a few conclusions sometimes out of those. Okay. I noticed that this has an interesting angle on the nib. Let's see if I can get it. Oh. Well. I don't know. I probably can't show you what I'm thinking about. And those kind of observations are probably better later, but it sort of seems like it curves downward just a little, but I think that's how it's made. Midori Fountain Pen. I have, spoiler alert, I've already tried this in my bullet journal, and I like it. It goes really good on the Leuchtturm paper, and it flowed really well on the more thicker paper in the Peter Popper press. So the combination of this nib and ink is good. But Colorverse ink doesn't let me down very often. So the only time Colorverse ink has ever let me down is when it's not saturated enough, but that's a color preference anyway. So number 17, Vortex Motion. I was just intrigued by this tile, how don't adjust your set. That's actually green sheen or something, and it just really changes the color. But as you can see, or at least I see, that looks like black or dark gray. So it's very, very intriguing. Whoops. Gonna be all over the place. Okay, and if I don't go right along, I'm gonna run out of time. Okay, that would be awful. Okay, next up is the first of the stub nibs, which is the Jinhao X750 with the broad Goulet. Yeah, broad. It's broad, all right. It's a 1.5 stub from Goulet. Make sure we can see. See, this one will really fill that square in. Oh my gosh, that just puts down so much ink. It's exactly how I like it. Now X750, 1.5 Goulet. Whoops, I'm not getting a very good angle. Colorverse Stars and Stripes. Probably for July, I will not only get out some red inks, but I will use the shimmer of this, because that's even more appropriate for our United States Independence Day there, but okay. Beautiful pen, beautiful ink. I don't see how we can go wrong there. Okay, next up is another no fail. It's always one of my favorites, and it's the Twisby Go with the broad nib, and the Scribble Verde Prado. I think you're going to want to see a little more, so, okay. Whoops, there's a white cat here getting in my way. Ah, this is pretty. This kind of does remind me of that Colorverse Supernatural too. But I really wanted to finish this sample. I never forgot about it. And that's been quite a while since I featured it. So Twisby, it's a nice flow. Twisby Go. This is one of the ones I just tore apart and re-greased so that the spring wouldn't get stuck. The broad clear. Oh, look at that. I just love that. I think that's not only the nib, but the Scribble inks, or the ones that aren't super thick, which this is one of the ones that is not, there are a few of them that are super, super thick, but the ones that are like this, that I would call normal, are very flowy. I gotta hold that up because you gotta see that. It's just insane. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Fire hose. That's what I like. Alert, alert. Okay, so next up is this beautiful little Neptune Singularity. And I just love the fact that the nibs can be changed, because the fine nib that came on it was fine. It really was, and I don't normally like fine nibs, but to be able to stick another nib on it that I really love, like this little 0.8 stub, just makes it so versatile. Makes me wish they were still making these, but I don't think they are, and oh, I missed the boat. But I didn't, because of a generous pen friend that just out of the blue sent one. I had no idea that I would like it even. So, okay, so this is Neptune Singularity. This is really hosing down the ink too, and I love that. 0.8 nib of the same company. Let's see here. And then, well, that wasn't a very good one. Let's try it again. Yeah, the Sailor ink is also very flowy. That Sailor 50 States, Texas. Oh my gosh, this is another one where it's just, yeah, it'll take a little bit to dry, but it doesn't bother me at all, because it's worth it to have that smooth experience to, getting the ink on the page. And of course it's not quite as crazy wet as that Scribble was, but it's really, really nice, I think. Okay, so next is one that I'm just so confident with and enjoy it so much. The little Kaweco Ice Sport in blue with Noodlers Navajo Turquoise, one of my all-time favorite inks from the very beginning almost. Just right, love at first sight, that's all. I love the name of it too. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I went to Bacone College in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and got an associate's degree there. And I studied with a lot of Native Americans, people. And it was the experience of a lifetime. If you want to know the truth, it was really cool. I was so young, and I had grown up in a monoculture, so I can only imagine what it was like for them to study me. I just have to say that, because I just can only imagine. Bacone is in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Maybe I said that. Kaweco Ice Sport. So whenever I hear the name of this ink, I think about college, and I think about how I got on a bus and went from Vermont to Oklahoma to do that, and it's like, memory time. So I think that's one of the emotional attachments to this ink, is what I'm trying to say. Noodlers, Navajo, Turquoise. I should get out my old yearbooks one of these days and just do a ramble about it, because it was really amazing. Noodlers Navajo Turquoise. I've been kind of frustrated with myself. I would try other inks in this pen and they were okay, but it was that initial bonding of ink to pen and I just can't get over it. This pen goes with this ink for me, so I'm not going to fight it anymore. I just go with it. Okay, so last but not least, by any means of the possibilities, is the beautiful Opus 88 Amar with the broad nib. And Monteverde Purple Rain, one of my all-time favorite inks too. Let's reposition and see. I'm hoping, yeah, you got a little bit of focus there. I hope so. I have left the ink valve, shut-off valve open for right now so that we'd be ready to go. I try to close it up when it goes in the pen case though. I don't want any problems, and so far I have not had any problems with any of these. Okay. Oh gosh, I hadn't been so excited about a pen brand since TWSBI when I first encountered that first Opus 88 Colorverse that was sent to me by my pen friend. And this is the Amar. Broad nib. Very nice. Monteverde Purple Rain. I can see quite a bit of letters being written with this. It'll be the first one reached for probably, along with this one and this one. Anything that puts down a lot of ink, it's always seems to be those are the first ones that I grab for. Okay, so let's get maybe a little bit of a view of everything here before we hop into the bullet journal just for a second. And there was a reason for that too. Okay, so those are the 8 I'm starting with. I've got just a few that I'm finishing the fill. I've got those inside my my Nock Sinclair, and I've got like several pens. I'm gonna have a cleaning party later today because there's several to be cleaned out, and I'm hoping to stay concentrated on these and really have a lot to say about it, you know, when I come back and report. But it doesn't look to me like I'm going to have fix and repair on these, so that's kind of cool too. And you never know what might pop up, but hopefully not 8 more like last month. Okay, so I'm going to grab my bullet journal stuff and I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the main purposes of talking about bullet journaling is because I have this Nock Tallulah that is always loaded with stuff for my bullet journaling and my journaling. And I don't really every month talk about it, but I have at least 2 TWSBIs inked up every month with gray ink or black ink or whatnot. So I thought, well, I need to mention that just so you know that I am also using my TWSBIs in rotation. And I got mixed up here on, I know I have Graf von Faber-Castell in this one, but I was going to look up what I have in the other one. Okay, so right now I have Colorverse Antimatter in this one, and I'm not too thrilled with it because it's too light gray for me, but I'm going to try to see it through. It works better on the Leuchtturm paper since that's slightly absorbent, but it isn't as visible on the Peter Popper paper. So anyway, I just don't have time to get in there and write with them all, I guess. But let's see, maybe I do. Yeah, okay, so here we are. Let's just do that, because and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to make like a dash and say, okay, so this is the TWSBI Eco Medium. I adore the TWSBI Medium and the TWSBI Stub, the 1.1 Stub. I don't get along with the fine nibs at all. And this is the Cement with Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. And they use an E, I think. Okay, so I just adore gray ink because it goes with everything. I can go crazy with my stickers and my color and anything that I really want to have stand out. And that's the reason I also put my little Parker Vector with some sort of red ink in it. And I think right now I have Colorverse Redshift, but I have to look that up. That's terrible. Because I've been doing so many changes. I get frustrated with myself. But thank goodness for this currently inked, because that keeps me a little bit on track usually. Okay, Parker Vector. No, I have Diamine Red Dragon in here. So this one, if I wanted to make a special note, it would really stand out. And it's a medium nib. And it's just perfect. Just really enjoy it. Of course, you're going to get a little ghosting, but these inks and pens are very safe for this. Okay, so I said I was going to go ahead and try this one, and this is the one with antimatter. Okay, I was just kind of testing it out. TWSBI Eco medium, rose gold black, one of my favorite pens, with Colorverse antimatter. Now, if you're familiar with paper, that's the thing. It's quite good for this Leuchtturm paper, but it really comes across as kind of light on my Peter Popper, which is a little bit slicker of a paper. It's a wonderful fountain pen friendly paper, but okay, and then the other, what I was going to say is I always have these two inked up too. And these are the varsities, the Pilot varsities with medium nibs. And I have Noodlers Heart of Darkness in this one. And I have Purple Rain in this one. It's just about to run out. I don't even have, I mean, it has a huge capacity, but I end up using a tool to pull these off and then just refill them, because I love that I can do that. Like, it makes me feel like accomplished because I can do that. I guess we can write with this too. Now these, like this one is more likely to be used in my food journal, and then this one I just like having it where I can not lose it, and so it's always, if it lives in the Tallulah, then I won't lose it. It won't be rolling around on who knows which desk. So I love these pens. This is one of those examples where we talk about how, you know, you can love a $100 pen and you can love a $3 pen, and it can write just as well as a $100 pen, and sometimes better. There are no really good generalizations in this hobby. That's the one thing I've learned after 5 years. If I had to say the one major thing, that would be it. Would be careful of the generalizations that you make. And we all do it. We'll say, oh, those, you know, such and such inks are dry. But that's not true in every single case. So we have to be very careful if we want to be literal and correct, which I do. So Monteverde. And I know I make mistakes every day, so Purple Rain. That explains why I'm running through that ink like a drunk sailor. Because I tend to put it in the big tanks, you know, and keep going with it. And you know, I haven't written in here for a while. Oh yeah, okay, that's the reason why. So it does tend to bleed through the Leuchtturm, and I do not find that to be true with my little Dingbats notebook that I use for my food journal. So that's probably why these two end up in there. We won't even tempt the Leuchtturm paper with the Noodler's Heart of Darkness, because as it is, I'm going to have to come in and put a piece of washi tape on Tuesday. So, okay, so I just thought that was like a full confession, or you know, kind of complete the picture of my writing, is that yes, I always have some Ecos inked up for bullet journaling and regular journaling. And I'm even considering, you know, breaking out a larger pen case and having a few more colors. But the Leuchtturm paper can be tricky. It's really, really comfortable with gray inks, though. So, okay, so those, that was a tangent. Oh, I had one more thing. Oh, my goodness. while I'm getting that out, I just want to say I want to hear what you have inked up. And this is the last thing. I just wanted to mention that my mom and I were reading the Sigrid Undset trilogy, the Kristen trilogy. And then we both decided, we've read the 2 first books, and so we have the 3rd book ready, but we decided to read the biography on her, and this is amazing. If you love her books, Sigrid Undset's books, you won't want to miss this biography. It's fantastic. And it made me start questioning myself, like, oh, I wonder what kind of pen she would have been using. She would have written that trilogy in the early 1920s, 1919, 1920, 1921, 1922, she was nearly done, and she penned all her books in handwriting. So I'm thinking, oh, where are the pens? She's actually holding a pen there, but you can't really see what it looks like. I just want more on that. And I'm not done, so there may be some pictures of, and there's lots of pictures of her home and everything. And I just wanted to mention it because it's a relatively new biography, so 2018. So you could be a fan of her books and not realize this was out. So, okay, that's absolutely it. I've gone over 30 minutes. I hope I didn't breach my storage. So let me know in the comments what you thought of these combinations, which are jostled around, and they aren't in any shape for a glamour shot right now, but these are the the 8 pens, and we saw them, and it's going to be a wonderful month, I think, of June. So I'll talk to you later, and thank you so much for all your support, all your views and likes and comments, and I just really appreciate you. Bye for now.